outfit those police officers. So I'm asking for $8,000 for 4 police officers, and that includes all the basic equipment that they need to work. We asked for 12 tasers early in the year, and we're going to lease those, and we're going to continue with the 12 tasers. They'll be assigned to 2 officers, and we have a procedure to make sure that they're properly taken care of in place. And also, I would like to get a shield for the SRT team. As some of you may remember, I had the SRT team come in a couple of meetings ago and explain what they do and how they do it. And the first guy in needs a little better shield than what we can provide. So that shield is about $1,250. So total amount of money that I'm asking for is $65,037.59. And I'd like to make that in form of a motion.
I'll second the motion.
You need to amend your motion. You need a total of $111,000 because you're reserving.
Yeah.
We're
the 55 something will come out of the reserve.
Yeah.
We need to have 2 motions really.
Yes.
One,
Okay.
use your reserve funds, and the second motion to
Correct.
pull new money from general revenue.
That total amount would be $128,25.18 when you add on the vest.
So
We need to separate the.
We
Okay,
need
so I'll make
Two
a motion
motions.
that the first car is pulled out of the equipment reserve.
Okay.
for a total of 55.
$55,787.59.
I'll second that.
Everybody hear the motion? Discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Second motion.
Now then, second motion is for the remainder of that money, and that is $65,037.59. That's to pay for an additional vehicle, equipment for the officers, and also for the SRT shield.
So the motion on the floor is to allocate $65,000
On
$37.59 from general revenue to the police department
Yeah,
capital budget.
capital budget.
I'll second that.
We have a second.
I'm sorry, is it coming out of general revenue?
Yes.
That's,
65,
okay,
yes, ma'am.
I'm just making sure.
So-
Thank you.
It's not budgeted anywhere else, so
Okay.
it has to come out of general.
It will
No,
be
no,
transferred
General revenue.
as needed.
The
I
general-
don't want to put all that money in at once, but as it's needed, then we'll bring it in.
I just
That's
want to make
okay.
sure I have the right account. That's
Yes.
what we talked about.
Did you miss out the part that we said that we're
Y'all have
under
discussion?
budget on the income, we're under budget on expenses?
Questions?
We're 100 plus.
Y'all got questions or?
No.
Okay.
Bill was asking me, it's got the general revenue.
Okay, any more discussions? Glad to see them, glad to see questions, that's great. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Mr. Phelps? We done?
I am,
For now.
I'd like to add an E on there, but I'll get the other 2
We'll
done
get that in a minute.
first. Okay.
By the way, you got
All right,
You said you were going to get it on.
Item C, approve the payoff of the John Deere 3032.
Jenny, you want to give us a background on that?
Yes, these payments have been going on. I didn't have a history on that, but we have been making annual payments since I've been here, so since 2022. And so the payoff on that, good until October 22nd, is $7,216. We have this year's payment and next year's payment, basically, will be paid. So if we pay that all now, it'll be paid off.
They came up in the finance meeting, and I'll make the recommendation for the finance committee that we pay it off.
Remember what we said we're taking?
From account of general revenue again?
No,
No?
No.
we're taking it from
Oh, they don't, it's street
transportation.
transportation? Okay.
It's for the street.
I thought, now, we had I thought during our last meeting, we discussed a reserve, a street reserve or a,
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Wouldn't that be better for stormwater?
You've got that, I don't have, okay, so you've got a street paving reserve and a street equipment reserve.
Yeah,
was
fill us in again.
we need to get that figured out too.
Yeah,
Yes.
this is the third time it's coming up.
That we have this reserve.
Yeah, why we have to have those 2 extra accounts. Since they're inactive, you're not pulling any money from there for a long time.
They're just in reserve to prevent a situation like we had on Floyd Street years and years ago, where we had to take money out of the capital
And
expenditure.
what's the difference if it stays in the street department's budget?
It's just easier to make sure that, okay, we had it, some of it used in a manner that felt like it was not used the way we wanted to. And I want to make sure that that doesn't happen again, and the best way for that to do it is have it in a separate account, is what it felt like. We can change it if we need to, but one of the things that we'll see about with this audit that we're going through is how that was used.
I think some of the discussion was potentially combining two, we wanted to ask about that, combining the paving and the equipment reserve into
Right,
one.
it was basically, Bill, the last time that Keith used the street paving reserve was to Robinson for about $60,000, and it hasn't been used since. I think he did that because there had been discussion about combining that paving reserve into the equipment reserve, and so.
I don't have a problem with combining them at all. I just want to make sure that we have that in reserve, just in case for that.
Can we make that in a motion, combining at least right now, unless the council thinks we need to do some
We're
different?
basically using, Randy, basically using Gerald Marley transportation tax on our paving and asphalt.
It's all right.
Yeah, that's all
Coming out
we
of-
use.
It's not coming out of the street payment. I think Keith just paid it out of that paving reserve to get that balance down.
Yeah.
It's down to about $7,000.
You'll say the balances are extremely small.
Yes.
One's got 20,203 and the other one 20,090.
Okay, that's different accounts. I don't have a problem with combining them, making it easier, if that would make it easier. But I think he's got a point about taking that money out of stormwater instead of transportation.
You know, to mow the ditches and things and.
Yeah, if that's how it's used, yeah,
Let's
if
do
it makes,
I'd much rather see that myself personally.
Okay, stormwater.
But now we do have a,
Okay.
we need to fix, we need to fix one thing and then move on to
Okay,
that
so
one.
let's, I make a motion, we combine those two funds right now.
So motion on,
account number 1136 and account number
Okay, have you
1137.
voted on making the payment?
No.
Okay.
Well, that's next, because
Yeah, that'll be
if it's gonna come out of the
Oh, I'm
storm,
sorry.
we're
I
just
thought
trying to
you
figure out where
already
it come
made
from,
that
then
motion.
like this
We'll
discussion.
get rid of that. All right, so that's the motion. How do they combine those two?
combine those two.
We have a second before we do discussion.
I'll second.
We have any discussion on that?
Question,
Question,
what's it gonna be called?
street reserve or?
Street reserve would be, I don't think we should, well, we can name it bill stuff, but that probably wouldn't be legal.
Uh,
Well, street
I don't
reserve.
know
We don't
if we
need that
need to
convinced.
change any, we don't, I would recommend we don't change any names to any accounts, even if we combine them, until after we get through our results through all of our audits.
State audit?
Just call it street equipment and paving reserve.
Street slash paving.
Yeah.
Be one less account to have to keep track of.
Exactly.
Okay,
Okay.
Because we're having to keep track of all the accounts, even
Yes.
though they're dormant, so.
yes, yes.
Mhm.
Okay, so, all in favor of that, or any more discussion, questions? All in favor of combining the two, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Now, on to the purchase.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I move that we make the payment for the tracker out of the stormwater account.
Okay, we have a motion, do we have a second? Second, motion on the floor to pay off the 3032, through stormwater. Questions, discussions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Done with me?
Yes, ma'am.
All
Thank you very much. I need to get a approval from you all to approve, or for me to sign, engineering contract for the two TAP agreements.
Okay.
We have a motion?
Second.
Motion, we have a second. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Item E, you don't have, but we'll soon find out what it is. Mr. Phelps?
Okay, me again. Since we're talking about the boards, and Councilman Carter brought this up some time ago, and didn't get anywhere, but so I would like to change that just a little bit on these boards. I'd like them all come due either January 1st or July the 1st, even though they are staggered. That's dates I would like to see those come due. And that way, everybody will know when they're due rather than random. Because right now, we have no idea unless you're looking at the paper when these boards or councils are due. So I think it would just be a little a little easier for us to keep up with.
I fully agree, 100%.
I'd like to make that in the form of a motion.
We have a motion, we have multiple seconds. Brian? Discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Ma'am.
it's related to that. You know, when we talked about this before, I went through and created a spreadsheet of all the different groups and whatever was there, and a description for each. And I'd like to get that in front of the group again so that we can get that approved and on the city website, so that people who have an interest in those different boards and commissions could, you know, suggest themselves whenever there is an opening, is for consideration.
Well,
You know.
if you don't mind, if we can make copies next meeting and have it in front of us,
Okay?
and email them to the council also, but that way we have paper copies and we can have open discussion,
Great.
and we can vote on that.
I'll make sure Brenda's got it to go into the packets then.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to see
day?
them there is.
What date are you wanting?
The first meeting, what dates? It's your motion, so what dates you want? I figured the first and the,
January 1st and July 1st.
sounds good.
The other thing I'd like to see on there is I'd like to see the committees keep us an attendance record, because I don't know at the times we tried to meet and barely had enough to meet. And, I mean, I can look on this thing now, and there's still some on here that's not gonna come
Mhm.
to this one. So if they could keep an attendance record, then when you redo that at the end, might be a good time to remove them all.
I think that'll be the time we add it to Mrs. Dry's, next meeting. We can have all those discussions.
Everybody's turned their minutes in, there should be.
Do we have an attendance policy? I thought we did at one time.
I think so.
So we,
I know it's been discussed, whether or not it's ever been acted on.
so we'll have a lengthy discussion on that next meeting. But for this motion, it's on the floor and it's seconded, so any discussions on this particular motion of appointing on January 1 and July 1? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Question, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
You just stated that they would be appointed on those dates. Their terms would expire on those dates. So would that be more correct?